All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to my series where I teach the dailies. Today we're doing level 2, but first I want to take a moment to explain the standard game mode. Since in level 0 and level 1 we've only seen simplified, meaning that the missions don't have as much depth as they would in the standard mode, and I feel like we might see some standard mode games in the daily level 2 today, so I want to explain that. And then I also wanted to go through and explain the characters and the names. That way there's no confusion. So before I explain standard, let's get to the characters here. I think I can go to practice and then view dossier. Okay, so everybody kind of has different like things and names for the characters. I'm just gonna go through like the most common ones for each character. Um, so for Mr. A, uh, people tend to call him either Disney or James Bond, or I just call him Bond. So that's him. Miss B, she is called either Boots or Buns most commonly. Uh, Mr. C is always referred to as Taft. This is Kane. Miss E was White Dress or Pearls. We have Alice, General, Red Dress or Oprah, Wheels, Queen, Seek, Rocker. This is Plain Twin because there's nothing on his tie and he doesn't have a ring on. So people typically call him just Plain because if you call him Plain Twin, it could get pretty confusing. So just Plain. And then this is Bling or Bling Twin. This is Irish, Cowboy or Tex. I mostly call him Tex. We have Salmon, Teal, Smallman, Sorry, and then Duke. So those are all the characters. And I refer to them quite often by those names. So, so with the characters out of the way, um, you could always refer back to that. So now I wanted to explain the standard game mode. So when people ask like if SpyParty has depth, like this is where the depth comes from. The standard game mode, the missions aren't simple, and now this is where you get into like the nitty-gritty. The simplified game mode is what most people play and then quit because, maybe they don't get like enough wins to like really unlock, quote unquote, unlock the game mode. Even though like you can unlock the standard game mode anytime just by going to this drop down box above, you could just skip the simplified and go right into the deep end, which in my opinion is like the best thing to do if you want to learn and improve. So let's get started. This has every single mission except Microfilm, which I'm going to do on another venue. And because I also wanted to show off, so there's two types of venues, in my opinion. There's like the bar venues, and then there's like the waiter is carrying around the tray venues. So Terrace is the bar, and I will show you everything with the bar. And I'm going to hopefully give you a comprehensive sort of like 80, 90%, knowledge of like what goes on in the standard mode. Okay, so I don't really care about having that much guests. I mean, we'll do like 7 and then a bunch of time. So I could show off everything that I want to show off. And then I can also add time if I want to. Okay, so all the missions are on. I'm going to go in order. Uh, so let's get going here. I'm going to explain the differences as well with everything in the simplified. So let's just start off at a window pad here. So before I go into the missions, let's talk about Timeadd. So Timeadd. Now I mentioned that there's these things called action tests. And now what action tests do is it moves like this little bar and you're trying to click in the middle of like the area in the bar to get something that you want. So just to show off, I'm gonna check watch to add time here. And if I don't do anything, it's a white time add and it just adds time on the clock. So yeah, that's all it does. But if you hit a green test, you'll say, oh, well, it does the same thing. See, I hit the green test there, the bar blinks green. Now, if you'll notice, I'm going to switch to the other sniper mode. I could tab between the practice spy mode and the sniper mode by pressing tab. If you'll notice, the timer at the top right, it's actually slowed down. So you see the spy, it says 10:30, but in here it says 9:50, and that's because the spy the spy hit a green test, which means that it doesn't actually show the time added on top of on the top. it just shows it slowed down, so it's more subtle. And this is the power of green tests in most situations, in that it makes everything more subtle. So yeah, so a white test just adds time, and the sniper can see it. So notice 10:46, and you notice that it also added time for the sniper, so you can see that. But it's still slowed down because I time added green earlier. Now, of course, there's not just white and green action tests. There's also red, and with the red action test, it will make an audible beep, and the spy can and the sniper will notice that the time has gone up. So you notice the beep sound that plays, so you'll hear a beep. See it? Or if you cancel time adding, it gives you a beep. So yeah, if you hear that beep and it's not on like an even minute, because the clock will always beep when it gets to an even minute for the sniper. So for example, right now, if the clock hit like 11 minutes, you'd hear a beep. But when you hear a beep and it's not even minutes, that's how you know that the spy has red time added. So that's Timeadd. Timeadd's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, a white just increases time for both the spy and the sniper, and the sniper can see it. If the spy hits a green test, that's what we call it when you hit the green part. I'll see if I can get another one. Okay, there we go. Got the green. And then yeah, so it adds time, but now the sniper is just going to see it slowed down. So that's that. So that's Timeadd. So let's get into the fun part of the missions. Now, for simplified, you already know that you can, when you're right next to the ambassador and you both are not moving, you can bug. So it'll say plant bug on ambassador. But now notice how it says start planting bug on ambassador. And what's interesting about this is that when it says start planting bug, it doesn't mean that it's going to take. So I'll hit start planting bug, but it won't take. But when it says, when you're right next to the ambassador and it says plant bug, that means it'll take. So that you'll notice in the top left, it'll complete. So you'll see, and you'll see it's completed. But that's not the only way to bug. You can bug in a multitude of ways. So I'm going to restart this here, just to show this off, and I'll use the same character. You can now also bug the ambassador when moving, and in a bunch of different ways. So I'm going to show this off. Hopefully it goes in like a conversation circle, because it's the easiest to see. Alright. So look, now you can bug while walking. So you just hit start planning bug while you hit start planning bug on ambassador as you're walking by, and make sure your circles are touching. Like if your circles are touching, it'll work. It'll take. So watch. See how see how that works? And it took because I walked right past him. Our circles were touching as so, and it works out. So we'll do that again. So of course it works when your arm is right next to the ambassador, right? But what if you want to use the wrong arm? What if you want to do a wrong arm bug? So watch this. So as you'd expect, my right arm here would work. It would bug the ambassador, right? But I can actually do this, and it'll still take. And you see, like the left arm walks out, and that's why it only matters if the circle's touching. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if your arm's touching the ambassador. It matters if your hand is. So we'll do that one more time. This is a very common sort of trick that a lot of higher level spies use, because it's a lot more subtle and you can take advantage of different camera angles this way. Okay, I spawned with a drink. I'm just going to get rid of it just for the sake of showing this. Okay, so watch this wrong arm. So you see how like the sniper angle is kind of over there? Like if I did a wrong arm, it would look kind of invisible. So I'll show this. And then now I'm going to shoot somebody, just so I could show you from the sniper's perspective how this bug looked. So watch as I wrong arm. Watch this wrong arm. I'm going to skip. See? It's very nice and subtle. You can barely see it. Whereas if I did it with the arm closest to the sniper, it's very obvious that a bug has gone off, because you can see the arm extension. But with the wrong arm bug, it's actually pretty subtle. You can only kind of see it when you're, you know, actually looking for it. So that's why, at the higher levels, people will rotate around to see behind the ambassador, and you think, well, why is that? Why is that an issue? Well, because you could do that. So that's a walking bug. Now there's one more type of bug, and it might take a little bit of work to maybe set up. And if I can't get it, I can't get it, and I'll just save it for like another day, an example in another daily. But you can also bug the ambassador when he's moving past you and you're stationary. So I'm gonna get close enough. So I don't know if you guys also know this. When you stand close enough to the ambassador, he walks away. See the little bar on the top left? That means he's getting ready to move when someone gets too close to him. Okay. I'm gonna stand right here, and hopefully he walks past me, and I can show this off. So as you can see, it's start planning bug, but it doesn't work because I'm not close enough. Okay, perfect. I got it. So you can see that I can now do it when stationary, and he walks past me, and it can also take. And this can be really useful for when, for example, say on terrace, you're standing over here, and he walks past you on the two statues right over here. So those are all the possible types of bugs, and you know, it's a very powerful kind of thing. Bug is a really strong mission because it only takes like a minute to, uh, take off. So it's very nice. So okay, there is the bug mission. So in the standard game mode, and that's already 3 or 4 different ways that you have to watch like the ambassador now. Originally, all you had to do was if they're both if he's motionless and there's people next to him, then you have to watch him. But now he can be bugged from anywhere, so you have to be constantly paying attention to him. So it's very interesting. Okay, so that's the bug mission. I think I covered everything. I'm pretty sure. We'll do it for fun one more time. Oh yeah, here's another bug. So notice how it's gonna take. Watch how hidden this hand is, and then you just request, and look how nice it looks. I'll show you after I shoot somebody after the double agent. Okay, so anyways, moving down the list, now we have contact double agent. So let me first show off what all the different action tests do. So this is a red action test. Oh wait, I think I just flirted. My bad. Hold on. Sorry, it moved. I got action priorityed. It's when like you meant me to do one action, but you do another. Okay, here we go. So this is the red test.
Banana bread.
So you notice you hear the banana bread, but then you see a cough, and then a cough animation plays. So you see the cough animation, and you hear a cough. So what does a white do? So here's the white.
Banana bread.
So all the white action test does is it plays the banana bread, and that's it. And you're talking. But now, if I hit a green test, look what happens.
Banana bread.
I don't talk. There's no talk animation. And
Banana
it's
bread.
instant. For example, when you play a white BB, like the double
Banana
agent
bread.
can always just get up and move, and then it doesn't take. But notice how if I hit
Banana
green,
bread.
I don't talk, and the banana bread is instant. And sometimes this could mean the difference between a shot or not a shot, so it's a very powerful thing. And that's all that mission is. Now notice that like it's extremely powerful if you want to green a BB and then walk away. As such, watch. I'll
Banana
explain
bread.
that in a minute. But yeah, notice when you green the BB, you can immediately walk away.
Banana bread.
And since most snipers take lowlights for people that are outside the conversations, it's a very powerful thing to do when you hit a green action test for BB, the banana bread, or the contact, and you immediately leave the conversation. Okay, so what if you interrupt? So what if you leave the conversation while you're talking for the white BB? What happens? You just cough once and you look like you're coughing as you're walking away. What about for the red cough? What if you hit the red cough or the red BB, the red action test, and you walk away? What happens? You cough a bunch and the cough animation is very long. And then what about for the green? Nothing happens.
Banana bread.
You just walk away and it's very nice. So that's all the double agent, or that's all the contact double agent mission is. Not that bad, not that bad. Like, say you're already suspicious of somebody and they're talking during a BB and you highly suspect them, maybe that gives them a little bit more suspicion, and maybe you could shoot them. Okay, so let me shoot somebody here, and I'll show you the bug from the beginning. Now, now you'll notice that obviously you can still kind of see the arm at the beginning, but notice once you're behind, once this is like the strength of picking Taft as the ambassador, like the arm gets completely lost inside of him. So watch this bug here. Watch, are you like look at this. So you see the arm starting up, but then look, it's hidden. So like it only takes a split second to miss that. Now most good snipers are going to be watching him right at the beginning, but it's a very subtle thing and it's a very powerful weapon that you could use. So that's the nice part about Bug. Bug is a very strong mission. I think Bug is honestly the strongest mission, which is why normally it gets the most scrutiny from the sniper. Okay, so we have Bug and Contact out of the way. So next one is Swap the Statue. So I'll need multiple games to showcase this. So we'll hopefully hit the white test first, or let's do the red test first. The red test is easiest. Okay, so using our same character, and keep in mind that these action tests are for the most part the same among all characters. Maybe some have like shorter animations for things, some have weird little quirks, but none of that's really important. All like the basis stuff is like the same. So let's strength this. Now notice like when the action test is past half and you walk away, it cancels the sip immediately. I just do it to save time, but you can't technically do that, but it saves me time. Alright, so let's red swap. So what happens? So in the simplified game mode, it just swaps the statue and that's that. What happens if you do a red test? Let's see. You notice that it flickers, and that flicker means that it has to be the spy. Okay, so that's the red test. Okay, that's the red test. All right, let's see the let's try to get a green test. So what's the green test gonna do? So for example, to comparing it to the simplified game mode, it just switches the statue. But when you green test this, uh, it's gonna not switch it, and it's gonna let the next person who takes the statue, unless they're the ST, then it's not gonna switch it. But the next party goer to come to the statue, and they're typically gonna get like called to it, like the closest person kind of gets called to it, I believe. Um, they'll swap it. So let's try and get a green test here. Okay, I didn't get a green test. So that's the white test. So we'll replay that. I'll shoot somebody so I can replay that. So the white test is just the exact same thing as the standard game mode. Nothing changes there. All right. So yeah, all you'll notice is it just gets swapped. Let me play that again because that was bad. 1 second. Let me rotate all the way around. Okay, yeah. So see how it's an A statue right now, and it gets swapped to the head, the H statue. So yeah, so it's the same thing as like the simplified game mode. So nothing changes there. Okay, let's see. Let me hopefully try to get a green test. These green tests take skill, like they take like skill and practice. So sometimes like I would say I have about a 50-60% like hit rate on them. So let's try doing it again. Let's get a green test. Okay, you'll have to excuse me as I try to get it. Okay. All right. Let's try this again so I can showcase this. Sorry about this. All right. All right, there we go. I hit the green test on it. So, you want to put back the statue correctly if you're in a game. Okay, I broke animation a little bit there, but it's okay. Okay, so now Kane or General is probably gonna get called to the statue. And okay, Plane Twin got called to it. Okay, so watch what happens. But notice how the fade's gonna be distant. Like the fade's gonna be instant. Watch. So it's almost instant. So not the timing. So like it's not like he picks up the statue and immediately fades. So typically like the AI, they swap the statue uh just into their first cycle. So if you see an AI go to like if you see somebody go to a statue after someone's just been there, and you see that really quick animation, you'll notice that that's the spy. So let me play the difference here. Okay. So you see how that one was almost instantaneous. So now I'm going to try and get another one, so I can showcase the difference between the two. All right, let's do the white test. All right. Okay. watch this replay here. Okay, watch this fade. You kind of see how it's like pretty slow and it slowly progresses into the next other statue. So now I'm gonna try and show another green test. All right, we'll put that on for right now. Why not? Just because it's gonna be quick. All right, so let's get a green test. So you see how the white swap kind of goes progressively into the next statue. And you'll notice the green, when it's swapped by another random AI, it's kind of instantaneous. All right, there we go. I got it. I'll stand at this statue. Oh, I might be too close. Hold on. Okay, wheels I think got called to it. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Watch how instantaneous this looks, and I'll show it from the sniper side. So we'll do it sometime within the first cycle. Yep, there we go. Oh no, I just exited out of it. Okay, well, it's fine. You can kind of tell the difference just from the way I went up to it. But yeah, you'll notice that it's kind of instantaneous. And so while it may seem like the green test is overpowered, since it automatically gives you a 50-50, it technically doesn't if you're watching it, because you could tell the fade difference. So swaps can be pretty good. But of course, the sniper is most of the time going to be watching for them. So um, technically, you want to kind of pair swapping with something else. Okay, so yeah, that was the swap. Now, of course, inspects are also a thing. So we're just going to keep going down the line here. So statues, of course. Let's go and do inspects. Okay, so that was swap the statue. Now let's inspect. So okay, but this I want to try this out. Okay, so notice that um Taft is at the other statue, so I can only look. I'm scrolling, but it's only says inspect held statue and swap statue. But now look, now it says inspect left neighboring statue because he put it down. Okay, so what does a red test do for inspect the statue? Let's see. It inspects it really slow. So you'll notice that the action tests for inspects aren't that complicated. It's just the speed at which it gets inspected, which sometimes can be important. And then a white test, it's a little bit faster. And then let's go see a green test. All right, let's see how fast the green test goes. There we go. Yep, so you'll notice that for inspects, it's not too complicated. It's just the speed at which it goes. So that's not too bad. So we'll go to Seduce now, because inspects is pretty self-explanatory there. Okay, so Seduce. So you could always choose your ST. I typically just let it go to random though. I don't really choose it unless they're both twin. Then you don't really want to do that, or Queen General, which is a meme in the community. Okay, so all right, let's go. So let's go over the red test first. Now notice that you kind of have to be on a pad next to your ST. So for example, I could go on the same pad right here. So if I red flirt with them, what happens? Now notice she'll break animation if I do this. See? And so what does the red test do? Well, it just sends them away. And this actually allows them to break etiquette. So if I red test again, it just sends them away. And in a conversation circle, it just does the same thing. So that's all it does. So you red test, it sends them away. And now let's do a white test. So a white test is self-explanatory. It's the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing as it does in simplified mode. And remember to keep in mind that the closer you are to your seduction target, the more percentage you get on your flirt bar. So now let me show a green test, and I'll explain the significance of it. So we're at 34% right now. I'm going to go right next to teal and get a green test on the seduce. Oh, and I just contacted the action prio again. Okay, I hit a green test. Now look what it's at. It's at 85%. So it went up by 51%. And so why is this significant? Because it means that if you hit 2 green flirts next to your seduction target in a game, that means that you could be done with the seduce mission in just 2 flirts. Just 2. And this is just significant because it just speeds up everything. You have so much more freedom to do other missions. Everything is just so much nicer when you have 2 flirts. Now, worst case scenario, you flirt next to them 3 times and they're all white tests, and that just means that um, it's just a 3 flirt, which is still fine. The worst flirt that you can have in the game is 17%, so typically like the golden thing to do as a spy would be to get a white flirt and a green flirt next to them, and then if you need one more flirt, you can go anywhere in conversation and talk, and then it'll fill it up. So here I'm going to finish flirt, even though I'm really far away from them. It's probably going to be a 17% flirt, but that's okay. Alright, so I'm going to finish it up right now. Or, well, I mean, I red tested, so I can't do that. It has to be a white or a green, so my apologies there. Alright, so we'll just let it go. So yeah, white test, and boom. And notice that, so 17 is the lowest one you can get. Now, if I believe that if you have 17% but you hit a green test, it's like 24%, I believe. But you could always test that out yourself. Okay, so that was Seduce. Now, let me see if I can get a 2 flirt and showcase this. If I can't hit the green test, you'll just have to take my word for it. I promise I'm not lying, though. Alright, let's go to Plane Twin. Pick your spot, dude. Alright, okay, I didn't hit it. Now notice at the bar you can kind of cancel it. In conversation you can't cancel it like this, but I'm great at hitting green tests. Okay, there's 51, and notice the farther you are away from them, that the lower the bar goes down, so I'm just going to go over here. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to go next to them again, and there's another green. Done in 2. It's so nice. So it's a very powerful thing. And it makes watching for flirts even harder, so if you're already suspicious of somebody from like an early mission and you're trying to watch flirts, this can be really powerful. Alright, we're on the home stretch now, so we only have Purloin, Fingerprint, and Microfilm. So, let's do Purloin. And the bar venue, Purloin, is super simple. So, there's nothing too complicated to explain about Purloin on a bar venue, but I will explain better on another venue. Okay, so when you get to the bar and you want to take a drink, you have 2 options. You can take the drink, you can delegate the drink, or you can just get the drink innocently, or you can refuse the drink. So the simplified game mode is just immediately purloin the guest list. This is useful for framing, and I'll explain why when I explain delegate. I can't tempt the bug. I can't be tempted. I have to take it. Okay. All right. So request drink from Toby. Now we're going to delegate, and so the delegate you'll notice doesn't take the purloin, or it doesn't take the guest list. So we hit delegate, and okay, we got a fingerprint, so maybe I'll explain fingerprints and do Purloin in one fell swoop. So we'll do Purloin first, though. Okay, so... Oh, did I not take the delegate option? I don't know if I did. Oh, I didn't... I didn't take the delegate. Oh, wait, I did. Oh, wait, I did. I'm stupid. Hold on. Yeah, I forgot. I need to be in conversation. My bad. Okay. So, yeah, for the delegate, you need to be in conversation to delegate the Purloin. So, when you delegate the Purloin, it'll... When you talk to So when you delegate the Purloin in conversation, it sends the closest person to you. It starts the talking animation, and it sends the person that is the closest to you to the bar to take the guest list for you. And, okay, it might not take. I might have to do it again. Hold on. Okay, yeah, the bar ran out. That's what I was also going to say. When you purloin the guest list, or when you delegate the guest list, it starts a timer. Uh, it starts a timer for 1 minute. So you have 1 minute to delegate and 1 minute for it to take. So okay, so delegate, and let's go send Duke. Notice you can send any cast member that you want. Okay. So a lot of times what spies like to do is they like to sip their drink and then delegate so that there's no animation, and then they'll stop talk. But you can do it faster than that. That was pretty slow. Okay, so I delegated to Duke, and now he's going to take the guest list. So you'll see that that white triangle or that white rectangle is going to disappear. So watch this. Boom, he took the guest list. So now you see how it completed in the top left. And that's all there is to it for the bar. So on bar venues, this works the exact same on every single bar venue, where you can immediately take the guest list, you can instantly take a drink, or you can delegate or reject. So you have four options. Okay. And then the last thing I wanted to show, get drink just gives you a drink. So when you refuse a drink, you wait till Toby touches the glass and you walk away as such. So he touches the glass and I walk away. And what's the importance of this? Well, not really much importance. It's just AI will do it. And if you never do this in a game and people take note of that, then they can low light anybody that doesn't like reject or that doesn't reject a drink, kinda. So, or like they low light anyone that rejects a drink. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna time out here because I wanted to showcase the fingerprint as well. So how does fingerprint work? Well, fingerprint works if the ambassador touches something and you go pick it up afterwards, that has a fingerprint. So remember he was at this A statue earlier, so there will be a fingerprint on it. Okay, and now this is perfect because this is what I want to showcase. So earlier I took a drink from the bar and it had a fingerprint on it, and why was that? Well, it's because the ambassador took a drink. So that's self-explanatory for fingerprint. But this is the harder part, and this is like the hardest part of um, the standard mode is that the fingerprint it doesn't just last for one person; it lasts for two. So the fact that this statue has a difficult on it, it means that the ambassador touched it, somebody else touched it, and now I'm touching it. Although now I just realized that now it's gone. So now, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to wait for somebody to touch something else so I could showcase why a difficult fingerprint can have so much venom to it. So we'll wait. I'm in no rush. So I could either take this briefcase here if Oprah drops it, which she's not going to. Oh, she is. Perfect. I think she's gonna drop it. Okay. So let me show you the difficult. So notice how the ambassador had the briefcase, red dress touched it, and now there's a difficult on it. So that's every single thing. So for example, ambassador just took a drink, queen just took a drink, so there will be a difficult on it. But the difficult, so when you fingerprint something right after the ambassador touches it, there's no difficult, there's no action test. It's just you take the print. But for difficult, notice that there's an action test as such. And I hit the action test, so my fingerprint's done. And that is the venom because now there's so much depth because you also have to remember all these fingerprints. You have to remember like statues, who was at statues in case there's a green swap. So you can kind of see how much depth that there is in this standard game mode. Like it's not as easy to simplify game mode where like in the past we just watched swap and we're like, oh, it swapped, it's that person. You know, if I missed the fade of the swap, then I don't necessarily know who it is. Okay, so we got a 2-for-1 this game. We got Purloin and Fingerprints. So I think that that is all the missions that I wanted to show off on this venue. So okay, we will end it there. We will end terrace there. Okay, now let's go to ballroom, my beloved. This is my favorite venue. Okay, so same setup, and now I'm gonna showcase microfilm. and then I'll do Purloin, and I'll save the other part of Purloin for last. So, microfilm. Let's go. Okay, so Ambassador. Okay, so here's the thing. In a real game, I would not go to this bookcase right now because it's too crowded, but because I'm trying to showcase stuff, I'm just gonna do this. Okay, so there's two ways to complete the microfilm mission. I'm just gonna do the easiest. So the easiest one is you take a book from one bookcase. So I took the green book, and you return it to another bookcase, and this will complete the mission. And done. So there we go. Now, don't ever just do that unless you're trying to cheese. Obviously, there's etiquette. You have to hold the book a certain amount of time, blah, 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 etiquette. But I'm just trying to show you like the basics of the missions here. And that's it. So you take the book from one bookcase and you return it to the other bookcase. Now let me do the other way of completing it. Okay. Okay, so all right. So now we can do what's called an animation microfilm. So here comes the action tests again. So what happens if we red test it? Or let me explain like the general goal first. So when you animation microfilm, the goal is that you do it at both bookcases. And of course you think like, well, this gives the sniper more opportunities to watch it, and that's true, but now it's not becomes something that like they have to remember. So like for example, if you take a book out and you return it on the wrong shelf, that's something that the sniper has to remember. But this is something that mainly the sniper pays attention to. Okay, so let's do a red. Let's see what happens. It takes a really long time and it's super obvious. Now notice the sniper can watch this and it's very obvious. And we'll put it back. And there we go. So we did the green one. Now we have to do the blue one. And now I'll show you a white action test. This one is not as painful as the red one, believe me. And that's it. Still obvious if they're watching for it, but if they're not watching for it, it's just a little bit of time. And we put the book back. And microfilm done. Okay, so now let me showcase green. Alright, let's see the green test. What happens if you get a green test? Okay, that's also what I wanted to say. When you cancel the action test as it's going off, you get bounced out. Like watch. So yeah, so don't cancel it because it's also obvious. So green test. Here we go. We hit a green test, and look how fast that is. There we go. I landed the bug. Bug is the most fun mission anyway. Okay, and then now let's watch another green test. Okay, well that was a white, and boom, green test, and it's much quicker, and it's more subtle. And return, and that's microfilm done. So there is microfilm. Um, there's the two ways to do it. You either return a book to the wrong bookcase, or you animation microfilm at one bookcase, and you then do it at another bookcase. Now, there's a few caveats with this. So here's the first caveat. I'm going to showcase the first like problem that may arise, and you may try in your games, and it may go wrong. So what happens if I take out the animation microfilm? So I'm going to animation microfilm here, see if I can get a green test. I do. and you see like the little green square at the top. What if I try returning this now in the wrong bookcase? Does the mission complete? Yes or no? Nope, it does not. So you have to make sure that you don't do that. If you're ever in a pinch, you still have to return to the correct bookcase after you animation and microfilm. Okay, and here's the other caveat. You don't have to animation and microfilm, and this is also another pro of this method instead of just returning the book, is that you could read this book anywhere as long as it's not like a conversation circle. Unless you're alone in it. Like, for example, I can't read a book here. I don't have the option. But in this one, I'm alone, so I have the option to read a book. So, let's animation microfilm over here. I got a white test. That's unfortunate. And let's go back to the blue bookcase to return this. And done. So, there you go. That's the animation microfilm, and that's all the ways to do the microfilm. So sometimes I'll watch spies if I'm suspicious of them when they're trying to get their second animation microfilm and I realize they were at another bookcase. I'll be watching them if they have a book and they go somewhere. So there's that. Okay. All right. And then we have one more to go, which is the Purloin the guest list. It's not the same thing. It does not work the exact same as the bar. So I got to get rid of this drink in my hand, obviously. All right. So let's request a drink. Let's do the red test first. I'm going to do them in order as usual. And you'll notice that all of them have to do with the white triangle. So watch what happens to the white triangle as I purloin with the red test. Same thing, you notice the blinking. So let me show you what this looks like from the sniper side. Okay, let's go to the best angle. All right. Okay, well watch this white triangle. Yeah, so if you notice, you can kind of see it blink. Now, maybe I took a kind of a bad angle for it, but typically in a game, if you're on top of it, you'll be able to see it. So you'll be able, like, if you just get a better angle, you'll see what I mean. That one I tried to take like an exaggerated angle and didn't really work out, but that's okay. You can kind of still see like from the spy side it blinks, so that's all that matters. If you see that on the sniper side, you know that that's a red test, and you know that the person that just took the drink is the spy. And then the white test is the exact same as the simplified version of the game. And of course, I spawn with a drink again. I think it's been found to be about a 33% chance of spawning with a drink, but you wouldn't think that. All right, so for a white test, the guest list just disappears, but very slowly. All right, so you see it slowly fades away. So you'll notice that when you take the guest list as a spy, it just kind of slowly fades away. So let's see. Okay, this might be a better angle. So yeah, this might be a better angle, hopefully. All right. Or not. Hold on. All right, let's see. Let's see if I can get a better angle here. I think over here should work. Yep, and you can kind of see that slowly fade away. So yeah, that's the white purloin, and also known as the most painful action test in the game. Because when you're trying to get a green purloin, which I'm about to show, it's always painful when you get hit white. All right, now it's the same thing as the swap, right? When you get a green action test, it makes the next person to take it. Uh, it'll take the guest list. So let me try that again. And then yeah, when you cancel the action test, it crashes, and so that's the sound that plays. Okay, green test. Okay. Now you'll notice when the white rectangle fades, it's very quick. And notice that this is the venom of a green purloin, is that multiple people can reject the list, and it looks like multiple. Like for example, now when the guest list gets taken, it's down to me, Duke, assuming the sniper sees the fade, because like the fade is really noticeable. So let's watch. It'll instantly fade. Well, okay, that wasn't a great example, but you can kind of see that it still fades quicker than the white one. I'm gonna try and showcase this again because that was pretty. That looked kind of similar to a white test. But yeah, so the strength of so then what happens with Purloin is that like if multiple people are in what's called the reject chain, like for example, say there's three people in it, and like say someone rejects, then you get two more rejects, and then someone takes a drink, but it's obviously like a white purloin or a green purloin fade. You low light that person that just took, but then it's down to three people. So that's like kind of the venom, because then it's down to three people, which means that the sniper has to remember all the people that rejected. Otherwise, then they just weren't on top of the mission. Okay, let's get the screen test here, and let's see if I can get a better example of the fade. All right, there we go, got it. And let's see if queen takes here. It should be instantaneous. All right. Maybe it'll look better from the spy side. So let's see, or the sniper side. Yep, you can kind of see like when a white test is taken, it's a very slow fade right when like you kind of notice they take the drink. But with the green test, it kind of just fades away almost instantaneously. Like it just goes. Now I really want to show like how because it can get like really instantaneous. So I'm trying to show that. I'm gonna try one more time. If it doesn't work, maybe I'll see it in a game and I'll be able to demonstrate it later down the line. All right, there we go. Let's follow Toby around. Yes, okay, that's what I wanted. All right. Look how instant like this guest list gets taken. This is so obviously a green fade. And so if you're on top of this chain, you know that me and Rocker are in the chain, but Rocker took and it was a green fade, which means that there's only one other possible person that could have taken the guest list, and that's me. So that's why it pays as a sniper to be on top of the reject chain. So let's watch Rocker take this like list, and let's watch how instantly like it disappears. Instantly. Yep, and it just kind of goes instantly. So that is the Purloin. Okay, I think that covers everything. That is every single mission in the standard mode. Now, of course, it's harder for me to talk about different like plans and ideas as I see them without being in a game. So I'm going to be getting into a game here in a second. Just going to take a short, 30 like second break real quick, so I can collect my thoughts. Okay, so that is the standard game mode, and notice how there's a lot of depth to it, and there's a lot of ideas and things that you could do. It's not easy. So daily 2. And so now you'll notice also that we have all the mission setups. So, or not all the mission setups, but all the missions unlocked. Previously, like they wouldn't really have, maybe a couple of the missions, maybe it would only be like 4 of them. But now there's 8 of them, and it's any 5 of 8. So same thing. My main sniping style is just to watch these hard tells, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pay The most attention's a bug, Purloin, and swap, and Microfilm. Now notice in simplified game mode, all this action test stuff that I just showed off, it doesn't exist. So we're just gonna watch. We have it easy, is what I'm saying. So the simplified mode is pretty easy to watch. But yeah. So like Microfilm, for example, there's no action test. So if they take a book to another bookcase, that's the spy. The swap is just a white test swap. Purloin is just a white test purloin. Bug, they have to be right next to them. Contact is just a white test. Fingerprint, I think, is only after they take it. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. And then inspect is white, and then same thing with swap or in seduce. So let's get going. I'm mainly just watching hardtails, and I'll just comment on what I'm seeing. So my first step is to memorize the statues, and then yeah, watch Ambassador, and maybe take a look at other action sites such as like the microfilm or the bookcases. All right, let's go. So we have HA, and I'm gonna highlight text because he is inspecting statues. So HA, HA. I don't know if Irish is gonna bug, so I'm kind of watching that. Okay. So yeah, so I'm watching the Purloin here. I'm watching the spies. I'm highlighting spies that are going to statues because they can inspect them. That's how I play. And then these statues are AH and then BA. Okay. See, this is why it's important to watch the statues because look at what happened. There is a swap that's gone off. And look, we highlighted everybody who was at statues. So we can lowlight all of our non-highlights because we took the statue highlights. And the Purloin's still there. Now we have it easy because now all I have to do is just watch three people. And I'm watching for this Timeadd, and we found the spy. And we'll shoot him. Okay, so how did I find this shot? So what led me to find this shot? So what led me to find this shot? Now we highlight for statues, and here's why I highlight for statues. Now, over the course of the game, a lot of people are going to be going to statues, and it's going to be hard to memorize them all. I can't, it's just not possible to memorize 9, 10 different people that go to them, and all of them might not even have complete inspects. So, what I like to do is I like to just highlight everybody who goes to statues. That way, if there's a swap and I notice the swap's gone off, I could just low light everybody else. But I also like to keep them highlight because if a highlight goes to another, like some other statues, then I can kind of keep them in my mind and notice how like it's much easier to keep three people who have been to two. It's like three. It's easier to keep three people who have been to statues twice in your mind as opposed to like 10 different people who could have been to statues twice. Like you have to memorize a bunch of other stuff. There's too much things to look at, is what I'm saying. You're trying to like lessen your load, so to speak. But yeah, so when we shot the spy, we only have two other highlights to watch besides the spy. And that Timeadd was like just so obvious, right? Like we know that it's simplified, so we're gonna see the time go up, and no one else really was really doing anything bad. So let's watch. So remember we memorized HA, and so he goes to switch this first H statue. Let's see if he does correct etiquette, or if he just swaps it and immediately puts it down. Okay, I mean that's good enough. But then he doesn't wait after, so it wasn't correct, but that's okay. Like I said, when you have 21 different people to watch and there's a bunch of missions going on, you can't really wait and watch that. Okay, uh, I want to I want to point out that I actually made a mistake. Um, because I think I highlight Plane Twin here instead of at the other statues. Yeah, I actually messed up, and that's okay. It happens. But I would like to be fully honest and say that I screwed up this one. I highlight Plane Twin right here, and when I noticed the swap, I didn't see him at that other statue, and I think I just assumed maybe that like he was there from my highlights, but I think I actually screwed that up, so that's my bad. We still found the spy, so, and it's not like I was gonna shoot early. Like I was gonna wait for them to do something. So maybe I would have noticed like him do something like later on. This is why I say it's always a good thing to be solid and make sure you like they have the 5 missions instead of just shooting for one mission. Like unless you like explicitly see them do something that's very obviously like spy like, for example, with adding time like I saw. You don't have to shoot yet. Like there's no banana bread, there's no bug, there's no purloin. Like this person can't even have inspects yet because assuming I only saw him at one statue. So yeah, so that's my bad, but we still got the spy because of my general strategy of just watching everything. So yeah, that's my bad. Let's watch the etiquette though. Yeah, okay, it's a little fast. He didn't hold it down until after the blink, but that's okay. Um, I probably only would have noticed after if I saw him do the swap. And then yeah, so now we get the etiquette break. You cannot time add more than once in the same spot. I covered that in the level 0 video, so we'll just watch that. Yep, and then there's another one, and I'm assuming he's gonna walk away after this one. Or not. We're just gonna keep adding time. All the time. 6 minutes to complete missions. Okay, so we just go innocently to a blue bookcase. I'm not gonna watch this entire game. I'm just gonna see what he does. So yeah, there's a fake BB, and the sniper gets a bunch of lowlights from it. I probably would have too. And we go back to statues for whatever reason, because we didn't inspect at the beginning of the game. We Purloin, so I probably would have caught him right here, because I still would have been watching Purloin. Um, okay, and yeah, we finish missions, we seduce and contact, and yeah, that's the game. So we got him. That's a very good. See, like this is what I mean. So I feel like when I get up the when you get up the levels, it's less of watching for like etiquette tells. Like I don't really watch etiquette unless I'm sniping the easier levels. Like it pays to know like the etiquette tells, but if they're not important, they're not important. And in this game, they're just not important. Like they have to do 5 missions, and so you're gonna catch them on one of the missions, and as opposed to like doing them like doing a statue break. Like I don't have time to be watching every single person for statues. It's like fishing for like a haystack in a big pond. Like there's no point. So let's go to the next game now. Uh, I admittedly did make a pretty big mistake that game, but it's okay since we still got him. And same thing, we have any 5 of 8 modern and 12 guests. That is not a lot of guests, so the spy is probably going to be abundantly obvious early on. I'm going to be able to watch etiquette because there's not going to be a lot of people to watch. But we'll still shoot for like a hardtail. I'm not going to shoot just because they break animation. I want to shoot them when they actually do something. And then yeah, Timeadd's probably a good idea on this venue as well. So let's start. Same process. I'm just going to say it one more time. I typically analyze statues at the beginning or memorize statues at the beginning, and then watch Ambassador and Purloin. But I also wanted to mention that this is the standard game mode, so it's not going to be as easy as what. Now I have to watch action tests. So I'm also going to be factoring that into my analysis and commentary. So let's go. Okay, so BB, HH, BB. And now I have to watch the ambassador as he's moving. Okay, so highlight for the inspects. That's how I play. Watch Sorry so that she doesn't bug. Kane took a drink, I think. Or no, Kane did not take a drink. Okay, White Dress has a drink. And remember, keep in mind that delegate is a thing, so I now need to be memorizing people to the bar. Okay, we'll kind of let down our suspicion on White Dress and Kane for our delegate at about 253. There's a fingerprint
Banana
at the blue
bread.
bookcase. There's a banana bread, so we can low light Sorry and Queen. I think Kane could also probably be low lit, but I'm just gonna still just remain kind of solid here. I don't really recall. Okay, so Disney is actually going in for an inspect or a fingerprint. I'm sorry. Remember, there's a finger at the. at the blue bookcase. But okay, so the list has just been taken. And remember, I remembered Kane was in that conversation. So I don't think it's Kane. I think the spy is Salmon. But well, like I said in the last game, I caught the spy from doing other things. Okay, so Kane takes the. Okay, okay, it's Salmon, and I'll explain why in a couple seconds. Oh, okay. I also missed a swap. Wow. I am not on top of it these games, but like I said, at least the setups are easy enough to where I can see everything. I guess it's also a little bit harder as I'm talking, but yeah. Anyway, that's my bad again there. So, oh yeah, and it was a green swap too. But I think why I wasn't watching it was because I think he BB'd during it, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so a low light was taking it, so I just wasn't expecting a green test. See, this is like the depth of it, right? Like if I should have been watching this green test and then I would have known who the spy was. But anyway, okay, why do I know it's Salmon and why do I take this shot after he leaves this conversation? He finished his drink way too quick. Since he finished his drink too quick, I figured that he at least gulped it or just sipped it and broke a bunch of animation cycles. So yeah, he just gets shot, and I think he was Hylet, and he was going into statues again. So I also subconsciously was like, yeah, another inspect. That's way too quick for me. And I'm guessing that's what he does. He finishes inspects, and let's see what he does now. He goes to a bookcase, gets marked sus. Um, does another real banana bread, which makes him look even more suspicious after just getting Hylet. Uh, Yes. Okay, so this is what I want. This is what I was talking about earlier in my explanation. And of course, I'm going to have everything time marked. So if you want to go back and see what I'm saying. So it says begin planting bug while walking instead of just plant bug on ambassador. So if it said plant bug on ambassador, you would have been in range for that to take. But since it says start planting bug while walking or start planting bug or something along those lines, it's not going to take unless he walks past you and the circle gets close enough to you. And so what's the final mission? It looks like bug. Yep, and we hit a walking bug, meaning that we were in motion, and he gets shot. Or he does not get shot, I'm sorry. He wins. That's how he wins. And then he hides behind a pillar. That's nice. Okay, good game. Let's keep going. Okay, so we have simplified library. And when you have weird setups like any 4 of 6, normally it's any 5 of 8 for library. So we have any 4 of 6, so you got to discern what the best missions are to watch. Fingerprint and inspects are off, so I don't gotta pay attention to those. Seduce and contact are the easiest missions, which means that we have to watch swap, transfer, bug, and purloin. So it's really just any 2 of 4 of those hardtails I have to watch. So obviously swap is going to be really easy to watch on library as well as bug and purloin. So microfilm I don't have to really pay that much attention to. I mean maybe I'll pay a little bit of attention to it, but I'll pay attention to the other things. So let's just get going. AAB, AAH. AAB, AAH. And we'll watch this timeout here. Maybe he's timeouting early. I don't know. He's not. Okay. AAB, AAH. And I'll highlight and then low light when I know he hasn't been swapped. Okay, hasn't been swapped. Is this going to be a bug? Nope. All right. AAB, A. All right. That's not AI like. We'll watch him bug. It looks like he wants to bug. Instatalks probably is going to leave here. Yep. Walks right through the center of the conversation. So, yeah, that's not. And maybe he's going to bug here. Yep. All right. Yeah. Now notice everything that I've like been talking about throughout these daily like teaching the daily videos is that like there's a lot of etiquette breaks at the lower level, and so sometimes like you're not even watching for these things, but it happens, right? Like I already had a little bit of suspicious on him for going to statues, and I left him highlight just for a little bit in case just to see what he does, because I thought he was going to path near the ambassador, and he did, and he gets crammed into the bookshelf over here. This is not this AIs do not do this, by the way. So that would I would could have just shot him right there, but Oh, I waited. All right, let's see what else he does. He's breaking a lot of etiquette rules. So yeah, I mean, you're allowed to do this obviously as spy, and higher level spies will even do this if they don't think they're being watched. Let's see what other missions he does though. Yeah, contact. So notice see how like seduce and contact are kind of free. We're getting to a level now where people are kind of realizing like how to play the game and like what good strategies are. And like I said earlier, contact and seduce are the easiest ones to get away with. And if you're being quick about them, they're really easy to get away with. See, he already has like 86% on his clock or on the seduce meter. So it's been very active. And then pick up a statue. Didn't swap the statue. Seduce. And what's the last mission here? Goes to the statue thing. He added time twice. Yeah, so like you see in these games, there's like a multitude of things that you can catch. Like there's been like a million opportunities where I can catch the spy. And swap is the final mission, and for whatever reason, we are low lit. And it looks like he breaks animation too. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So breaks animation on the swap. Oh yeah, and then remember, like if you're ever wondering like what etiquette I'm talking about, I did like an etiquette kind of analysis in a lot of the level 0 games, like in depth, and I also went through the practice spy mode and showcasing a bunch of important etiquette. Now I'm kind of only gonna go through it as I see it, and if I'm gonna talk about it like later on after the games, I will. But right now I haven't really been feeling the need to do that, so there hasn't really been anything new, and also like they're just getting shot for all these hardtails. Okay, so we'll keep going. Okay, simplified pub 3 of 5. No swap or fingerprint, so don't gotta worry about those. But I might pull out some of my high level tricks this game. We'll see because it's just seduce, contact, and inspect that they have to do. They don't have to do any hard tells. And what are hard tells? When I keep saying hard tells, things that like only the spies can do. So like for example, if a spy bugs, like there's no AI that can do that. It's a hard tell. It's obviously the spy. It's forced to be the spy. If you see a bug, if you see the guest list taken, that was forced. Has to be some sort of influence from the spy. But if it's simplified, it doesn't matter. If it's simplified, then it has to be the spy. But in the standard game mode, if it's delegated, for example, pub is a bar venue, so then it's a 50-50. And then yeah, seduce, contact, anybody can technically do those as long as they're in a conversation circle or just next to people. You could be next to people without flirting with them. Sometimes that can be maybe a little bit more suspicious to spy or to snipers, but not every spy has to be right next to their ST all the time. And then yeah, inspect, anybody can do that. So I'm mainly going to be watching inspects, bug, and purloin, but I will definitely look at some etiquette just in case. And there's only 12 guests, so I can afford to do that. It's always dependent on the setup if you can do that or not. So let's go. Don't have to worry about memorizing the swaps. So watch ambassador, watch purloin. All right, queen's the spy, missed the pad. We'll just watch. So yeah, we'll see the inspect etiquette. Okay, breaks etiquette. I'll low light everybody else for convenience. I'm assuming he's just gonna take she's gonna take the list here. I'll shoot if she does. Yeah. So that one wasn't that much of a fun one. How did I get this shot? Well, like I said, AIs won't miss pads and they won't twitch and micro adjust onto a pad like that. Maybe in some rare cases, but that was not one of them. That was not a rare case. Uh, and then yeah, so weird path to the bar. Let me just show you this like wonky path. AIs will always take the shortest path. Watch how wonky this is. Like that. Yeah, that's very wonky, and uh, AI won't do that. All right, let's see. So yeah, it takes the purloin. So the obvious reason for the shot is that I noticed that queen took this purloin. Bug, I'm assuming, or seduce. Okay. And we are in this conversation for a little while.
Banana
And then
bread.
yeah, we contact and yeah, we win. Okay. Fair enough. Nice. Good win. And we BM a little bit in the front. Well, that's 2 games now that they did that, so I wonder if that's just a fun level 2 thing, when they get comfortable. All right. All right. Yeah, we have a fun setup. I'm gonna pull out some. Hopefully, I don't need to pull out any tricks for this one. Thank God it's simplified. It's 2 of 5. So, like I've said before, the 2 easiest missions to do are Contact and Seduce, and they're super easy to do. Uh, and so I'm gonna have to keep an eye on flirt pairings. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on Contact, and as well as still keep an eye on Bug, Purloin, and Swap because they can still do that. This, yet again, I would like to reiterate that this is a hard setup and easy to lose if the spy knows what they're doing. So you have to be on your A game. So if I need to watch etiquette, I have to watch etiquette. If I have to take a shot based on pathing or weird entries, I will, and I'll explain them after. So let's go. Uh, at least inspect is off. Otherwise, this probably would have been an extremely hard setup. So all right, let's go. HB. And it is simplified too, by the way. So HB. Smallman takes a statue. Queen is at the first offer.
Banana bread.
All right, there's already banana bread. Buns wasn't talking. Uh, yep. Uh, like I said, definitely able to lose that one. I think I just wasn't watching the bug. Any 2 of 5 is extremely hard, and especially with 21 guests and 5.5 minutes on the clock. So, but let's see how could I have won this game? Uh, I don't think that losing a daily really matters in teaching. I think that as long as you've learned something from the loss, I think that it's good. I think that I don't have to win every game for it to be instructive, and I'm definitely gonna lose some games later down the line. But hopefully, if you're newer or you're more intermediate, you can get something out of my commentary. Okay, so what happened here? Why did I lose? There's an instant bug, and it's across buns. So already, like, it's a harder one to look at. When I was watching bug a little bit, when I was watching the bug earlier, because I was watching this, but I wasn't really watching Kane because I thought he was too far away. I was only really watching Buns, and so obviously I made a mistake. And from the sniper side, it's visible, so it's not as if I couldn't have found this, but just it was just hard to find because there's so much activity going on, and he's really far away, so I just missed that.
Banana bread.
And also, admittedly, I should have been looking at who was talking during the BB, as I did in previous levels. I would have noticed that I think it was only Salmon and Kane talking, so I would have had down to 50-50. But even then, if I missed the bug, I can't take that shot. I could suspect it, but I already had a bunch of lowlights, and I was just content with those lowlights. I should have been more on top of the ambassador, and I think that a better I think I messed up. I think a better strategy would have just been to leave the statues and the bar alone for a little bit and watch the ambassador to make sure no bug has gone off. Because once you know a bug hasn't gone off in the beginning, it's much easier to watch everything else. Because I feel like statues and Purloin are memory based, whereas like bug, like if I miss it, I miss it. That's why it's such a strong mission. So yeah, that's the first loss of these Teaching the Daily series, but I think it's an instructive loss, and I think that's why the setup can get pretty difficult because you just miss one little thing and that's it. If your attention's somewhere else, that's what happens. It's brutal. That's why a lot of the setups are more balanced. That way, like this will never happen. Like if like even like a competitive player is gonna have trouble with the setup because you only have to do 2 things and 21 guests, 5.5 minutes on the clock. There's just too much time. So if it's a good spy and they know what they're doing, like I would say they should win 90% of the time. So yeah, well played to our spy there. Nice bug. I could definitely see how the other sniper lost to that as well. Okay, we have another standard game mode game. But this one's pretty brutal because there's 7 minutes on the clock and 21 guests, and it's 407 library, but no inspects. And so what's the strategy here? Well, I have to watch everything. I have to watch swap, microfilm, everything. And there's action tests. So it's a pretty hard setup. But let's try it out. So let's go. AHH and HHB. I'm still gonna highlight I think statue goers just in case I miss something. So yeah, AHH and HHB.
And the underbred.
There is a BB. We'll take our free lowlights. Yep, and then I'm just watching Purloin right now. I'm watching different missions, so like no one's next to the ambassador, so I don't gotta worry about that. I'm trying to see who goes to Mike to like the bookcases. I'm looking at Purloins. So sorry takes. All right, so ambassador moves. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. All right, Tex has correct etiquette there. There's still no swap that's gone off yet. Seek rejects. So okay, here's the thing. So Seek could be a green Purloiner, except red dress just bugged. And like I said earlier on in my bug explanation in the standard game mode explanation of the beginning of the video, um, a lot of newer spies tend to screw this up, and that's that they tend to hit bug while like begin bug while walking or like start planning bug. It should say plant bug on ambassador when you're next to him in conversation if you want it to take. It's not going to take if it says start planning bug, unless he walks past you, in which case it might take. But if you're trying to bug him and he's standing next to you, it's not going to work. You have to it has to be plant bug on ambassador for it to work. All right, let me flip through. So we reject. And this is the brutal part about having 7 minutes. You have 7 minutes to work with, and normally like it's 5 of 8, and you get like 5 minutes about on the competitive setup of the venue. So, which of course tends to be pretty sniper sided, but you know it's much more balanced. I feel like than having 7 minutes and it's 4 of 7. That's pretty brutal. This would be like another setup where I think like even a competitive sniper would have a tough time on it if it was up against a good spy. Okay. So yeah, so we take a Purloin, it's just a white test. So if the sniper is watching the fade, let's watch the fade, like I said earlier. This, let me see. Oh, we're up behind the pillar though, so we're in a good spot. But yeah, Toby swings around, and let's see. So we take the guest list. Yep, and you can kind of see a very slow fade. I also want to say this too. I forgot to point this out. So when you want to get a good look at the fade of the guest list, if you're really watching it and you're really suspicious of it. So after the drink is taken, Toby always turns his tray to the center of the venue. So you always want to be kind of angled at the center of the venue. And like as it was here, like I was looking here. I wasn't trying to look over like here and being like, oh, let me see if I can see it. I wanted to go here because I know that he would tilt his tray out this way. Okay, what else do we do? I'm assuming we were highlight just for instantly talking. Or maybe not. I don't know. It didn't look like the other sniper saw this. So that's very weird, but whatever. So we finished Seduce, and then what's our last mission? Okay, we did an animation microfilm, and we just bug. And let's see, it was a sniper on top of it, or did they miss it? And it wasn't even on screen, so yeah, nice. Congrats to that spy, that's a good win. I also saw two time ads. Wow, I mean, yeah, 8:30 on a library set up for 7 is pretty brutal. um, but yeah, that's probably a pretty brutal game. That's like a 10-minute game right there. That's crazy. But yeah. Anyway, uh, let's keep going. And look, our first actual standard setup. So this would probably be a pretty normal setup, but in comp I think it's any 4 of 8 modern instead of any 5 of 8. So as usual, let's watch bugs at the beginning. Let's watch statues. The bar. I want to see if anyone cheeses like the books, because a good strategy is to take a book out at the beginning and just hurry up and go right to the next bookcase over and hurry up and return it. Sometimes spies will do that. So let's go. So BH AA H8A. So BH AA And let's not make the same mistake again, and let's be near the ambassador here. So BH, AA, and HA. So General is going to take a drink. Same thing, it doesn't say plant bug on ambassador. See, begin planting bug while walking, but it does not say plant bug on ambassador, so it doesn't take. And of course I was watching this, and I'll show you what I saw from my perspective again. I saw that, and that's a very obvious bug. Okay, yeah, right now I'm just gonna watch and see what if I see anything. Okay, so yeah, we got our first fingerprint of the dailies. I haven't seen any other spy get a fingerprint. All right, yeah, okay, this is another etiquette break, by the way. After you get a drink at the bar, you're only allowed to sip the drink once, and then you have to leave. You can't sip 3 times at the bar. That's not allowed. So yeah, that's a pretty egregious etiquette break. Are we gonna go swap the statue now? Let's see if he follows correct inspect etiquette. Okay, we don't even inspect it. And okay, yeah, it was still a pretty quick putback, but that's okay. Okay, do we but we should be in range to bug now, so let's see. Will you bug? Okay, he doesn't bug when
Banana bread.
and okay, a fake BB, and there's not really even that many people in conversation, so you typically want to BB when there's a lot of people in conversation if you're gonna fake, but you also want to be in for the real one, unless you're trying to frame somebody. So in other words, there's no point in banana breading there. All right. Oh, he hits a green microfilm. That's nice. Good job. Do we bug? Yep. See how it says begin bug planting bug while standing. Well, normally it says begin planting bug while walking, and it doesn't take. But if you do, it'll say this in the replay. So begin planting bug while standing, and then it takes. But you see how like the circles are close enough to each other on the bottom here, like they're overlapping. That's how you know it's gonna take. Okay. So we do microfilm. We swap, and we run out of time. So, um, yeah. Could have just held, didn't need to shoot anything there, but if you notice the bug from the beginning, or the bug microfilm animation, or swap, then he's just dead. He's a dead man walking. He should have added time. Like I said, I think I said this in the level 1 daily video. I think I said that like a lot of newer spies have trouble with pacing, and I feel like this is a pretty good example of that. Spies just have a really rough time with pacing. So, yeah. I think trying to think what else. We also had a fingerprint, so we could should have been watching the ambassador to see what else he was picking up, so we can get another fingerprint. And then if we get a contact, we can actually finish missions. But yeah, like I said, newer plans don't have like the best ideas slash like plans to finish. So yeah, that's unfortunate. But I think a nice time out there, or we could have been watching more diligently throughout the game for fingerprints, and then a contact would have sufficed. Yeah, so that's that game. Yeah, we caught him for the bug. Then we would have had 3 more opportunities to catch him for the same thing. I would have had an opportunity to catch him for the bug, the microfilm, or the swap. So That all in all, like that's how that game should have went. If you didn't see the bug, you would have been paying attention still to other missions anyway. And it's not going to ruin the end of the world because you wouldn't even notice this bug anyway. It's not like Purloin went off and you're freaking out because you're now a mission down. So, yeah. And this is the last game. It is simplified Veranda 5 of 7, and the time and the guests are normal. It's not like an obscene amount of time. And fingerprints off, so we don't have to watch fingerprint. So, easy enough. Let's just get into it. BH, AB, AH. Okay, I'm watching. I will admit I probably didn't do the best job watching Purloin early on, but nothing happened, so we're okay. So BH, AB, AH, and HB. Alice already has inspects. Uh, okay, there we go. And like I said, I was still doing a diligent job of watching the Purloin. Um, like I said, I think earlier on, I'm sorry for if I'm not like explaining my thoughts thoroughly enough. I want to make sure that I am watching everything to its fullest. That way, I can explain my thoughts either best after I do it or after the game. So at the beginning of the game, I was mainly watching and trying to memorize statues so that no swap would come off. I was watching where the ambo would land. I was trying to pay attention a little bit to bookcases. But notice how I wasn't really paying that good of attention to Purloin. And in an actual game, I could have been punished for that. They could have did an early like green Purloin, and I wouldn't have any idea who it was. So you typically want to try and always make sure you're getting a look at every single mission site at the beginning, at least so you can have a chance at seeing stuff. Now, what made me shoot the spy there? Well, I saw that the white guest list was still there before he was offered to, and after I kind of saw the fate a little bit, but then I made sure and double checked the list fate to see that the list was gone, and it was, and I knew that he was a spy. So there's not too much time here. Let's see if he does correct etiquette. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. Wait, hold on. So he takes the drink. All right. Yeah. So he sips the drink. I want to see how long he stays after. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. Okay, that's pretty good. I don't think I would have shot for that. That's pretty good etiquette so far. All right. This is another etiquette break. Uh, this is another etiquette break. So when you go to an action site such as books or like statues, for example, you have to be on your last sip of the drink. You cannot sip twice or three times when you get to a bookcase, for example. Otherwise, it's a hard tell. So I would have shot right here if I noticed this as well. Which is why sometimes, like, if you have two drinks left, it's better just to gulp it. That way it looks like you only had one left, because most snipers aren't going to pay that close attention to sips. Um, so yeah, that's what that's mainly what I noticed right there. And he doesn't even pick up a book, so you have to pick up a book. Like, you can't just ignore the book. Okay, swap. Let's see if he ignores etiquette. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, yeah, he waited too long there, but that was honestly pretty good statue etiquette. He waited too long. We could bug here. Yep, nice, nice play. He's actually having a pretty good game so far. I would say for like a level two. Um, yeah, I'm liking it. Now we contact, yeah, and then we're not even highlight for anything, so we could easily just go and
In the
inspect our
red.
last two statues, or we could just stay silent and flirt. We have 2 minutes left on the clock. There's no rush. I'm assuming we just flirt, right? Or we just go to inspects. That's okay. That's fair. Okay, we break animation, but that's okay. Yeah, okay, we got a bookcase, just put it back. Yeah, and then we finish inspects and we're done. Okay. So seven shots and only one missed shot, or well, 7 shots and then one where I missed the spy. I don't think I really played my best this time, but I think it's getting harder and harder to manage, like paying attention to everything I would usually look out for versus commentating. But I think I think like the trade-off is worth it. I think it's worth it to get some nice commentary in because I'm still looking for the same things I would look for. It's just harder to comment on everything and focus on everything because Spy Party is definitely a game of focus and memory. Um, I don't know if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. I don't think there's anything I really wanted to discuss after the games. I think that everything has been kind of thoroughly discussed. I have a good, I accomplished everything I wanted to, I believe. We had a really good explanation of the standard game mode earlier, so if you made it this far and you're watching this past this last part, just please check that out. It's a comprehensive list of all the ways to do missions and things to look out for, kinda. I will be labeling everything in the description, so if you wanted to skip to a particular explanation, you can do that. All right. Um, Thanks everybody for watching. Uh, Remember, if you want to see more like etiquette, the etiquette side of Spy Party, level 0, I go in depth and I do some of the most common etiquette breaks and show spies how to do it correctly. So yeah, I hope everybody has a good day, and thanks for tuning in. I will see you for level 3 next time. All right, see you guys.